with the world. Radio culture. One to radio culture. All right, first Saturday of the month. How you remember, and a lot of you know what time that is. How you tell me. Fireside reasoning sessions. Liberation. Today's edition is going to be special, oh people. It's going to be very special. You know why? Because we didn't even you know the nature of the show already, right? It's kind of unscripted for the most part, but today's edition is an unscripted version of the unscripted show. If you know what I'm saying, I'm sure you do. And as usual, I will have my co-panelists. Today, no guests. Okay, today is just in-house reasoning, and I have my co-panelists, 7 Fireside. And hopefully we can also get Dr. Kwadwo Oppong Wadie, Weero Rastafari, to join us. He did indicate that he is kind of busy-ish, but he still might be able to join us. So if he does join us, we will be very grateful. If not, show goes on. Because I already do have 7 Fireside on the line. Childhood assumption. And in a quick minute, we'll be cutting through to reach the man. In the meantime, let's enjoy this track from 7 Fireside. He calls it a Junior Me. How you remember, how you tell yourself that liberation. Culture. Radio. Who the driver? Who the rider? Even peace and love go beef with the world, yeah. And if they took it out on each other, you know something wrong with understanding. Panic, antics, tactics, rebel in self-love. Vibrations, famous, more of society. 1600 stories, I get it. You want to belong, memories, nostalgia, childhood assumption. What's in the game, Charlie? Headless one, no monarchy was your intellect. As if this girl's intelligence could protect moments of the history that we don't forget. Rastafari filled the people just with fresh connect. Is it starting to make some sense? Yes. A junior Miss Sounds of 7 Fireside, who is right now on the line, and we are going to go straight to it. Blessed Lord 7, what go on 7?
Give thanks. Nah, challenge, I'm loving. Today I got some questions for you, man.
Hey.
I want to listen to you. I can start right now.
You can start right now. Why not? The way you come in, you say, I would love to have you as a general in my army, Rasta, because you waste no time. Just like, you know what? Straight to business.
Charlie, so
give thanks.
2 things were in my mind, but if you start with either one, you know.
Yeah.
The other day we talk where they say, Charlie, it be like some politicians, they be evil, straight. That's how we hold them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And some be good. I want another question. We're going to come back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Free press.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you? You know, like the other day, you start talk to me about Kwadwo and attitude towards the free press. But I think we stuck with ED for a second. Right?
Yeah.
But if you go bring us back to Kwadwo, you go elaborate small. We could think about Kuba, you know, their attitude towards a free press, you know, His Majesty, and then how you just see them. You know.
Yeah, for real.
We'll go freestyle with either one, but I go love make you go inside, you know, in all sorts of directions.
True. Okay. So let's excuse me. Let's start with that point that you made about politicians being evil and all of that, you know.
Okay.
I these days I don't even particularly single out politicians as the class of people who necessarily are evil. I see evil people across board, you know, because again, I think that there are some great politicians without who we would be in a very bad state as a people, you know. And sometimes when I speak, I like to zero in on Ghana as a test case.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
So pardon me if you find some of my examples being overly homegrown, so to speak.
You know?
Yeah. But I feel like there are some politicians, especially this time that we're in right now. There are some politicians without who Ghana would have been in a much worse state.
Okay.
And I don't want to go into names because that's not the point. But there are some politicians in parliament, for instance, who are actively whistleblowing on the bad deeds of the evil politicians. So in
even
as much
among
as
your own party.
Yes. Right? Yes.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. And so we find that when we say that politicians are evil, like I said, I don't even like stick to that as a statement anymore. I think that they are good politicians and they are bad politicians. And like the example I always gave, Kwame Nkrumah was a politician. And the other day, to kick back a little bit and sorry for the other people who may not have been on the Rastafari reasoning the other day. This is a good reason why you should be on that reasoning, right? So we can carry the reasonings over. But when in that reasoning, Russ, you made a point about, say, Kwame Nkrumah, for instance. How would he deal with certain situations? Would he, say, tie in with the political goings on of the day and stuff like that? I would say that there are certain things which he would have been bound with. And so he would have to operate within that system. Otherwise, he would be the revolutionary that the system would spew out, that he would probably not have the opportunity to make the impact that he wants to make. Right? Imagine Kwame Nkrumah come and be like, hey, no, right now, let's kick out the white people right now. Hey, right now, let's go here, you know, that kind of thing.
I see what you mean.
He could have done that. And maybe he would have succeeded. But then he realized the system within which he was operating, right? He studied the people's game, and he had a game plan how to beat them at their own game.
Beat who at their own game?
Beat the system.
The white world.
Yeah, and I don't even want to say the white world. It's just a system. Because that system has been
the white world logic, though.
Basically.
But I see what you mean, though.
Yes, basically, right? So he knew that, okay, this is the system you want to practice. All right, this is how I can get around that. You know? So now I also find people in active politics who are doing the same thing, who are like, okay, this is the system you want to play with. All right, let's do it. But we will use that system for the benefit of the people, you know. So let me put that to rest and move on to the other points that you raised about the free press and all that. The press, Rasta, is the press is the quintessence of that cliche two-edged sword, right? When we hear about the phrase a two-edged sword, the press, the media, is the biggest example of that cliche. This is what I mean. The press can be used for so much good, and it can be used for even more evil. In my estimation, the press can be used for more evil than good, right? Because it's very easy to incite people, for instance, along tribal lines. And I see examples of that going on in Ghana right now, for instance, right? Like people try to speak their minds on issues that are going on, and certain people go what people might say overboard, right? They use certain type of lingo and all of that.
I'm not the one to say how people should express their anger. Because if somebody, I was listening to the story of a young man whose mother died in his arms because he didn't have the money to pay upfront for them to give his mother a bed at the hospital. Like, what fucked up situation is this, Rasta? You are angry. And so if somebody steps up to such a person and wants to tell them how they should be angry, no, you can't do that. You don't have that right. Whoever is angry has the right to be angry how they want to be angry, right? So if they're angry at the system and you hear them using some type of language against the ruling class, which is something we were not very used to. We're very used to opposing the ruling classes, right? But not with that type of lingo. To be honest with you, it's increasingly becoming a norm, right? Because now somebody can sit somewhere through social media. They can be in New York, right? 18-year-old kid, and go on the internet and say, yo, all the chiefs in Ghana are stupid. Excuse my language, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, right? For instance. And then really and truly, what power do these chiefs have to do anything to such a person? And now this is why I think that it's time for the chiefs also to re-examine the positions they are in as chiefs. Because the other day there was an issue where this lady said something against the Asantehene and she was dragged to the Asantehene's palace. And the charade that went on there with some of the sub-chiefs of the Asantehene was just shameful. In a modern world of internet, when people see stuff like that, it's shameful, right? For us
Like
as a
what
people.
happened?
Like the woman is on her knees and the guy is like berating her with all kind of language, making reference to her tribe in subtle terms, saying her father is disabled. It was plain stupid.
Oh God.
And I've already addressed that. So, but yeah, and it's shameful for that. And for a chief, what I said in my show after that incident was this: if you do that, and then somebody, you're doing this to this lady because she lives in Ghana, and you have some level of, even though she doesn't live in Kumasi, you have some level of power over her in terms of her employment, threats to her, all these type of things. Now here's a Ghanaian kid who lives in New York who came and said worse things than this lady said about the chiefs, and you cannot reach them, and they have unfettered access to doing that constantly. So where is your power as a chief? It's time for them to re-examine how they see themselves as a people and do things that will make people speak well of them instead of going on the internet to insult them. Just saying. Now let's get back to free speech. Free speech, no, nothing. In the time of Kwame Nkrumah, free speech was guaranteed as part of our very existence as a people. We're people who speak. Kwame Nkrumah didn't put anything in place to curb anybody's freedom to speech. Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana was set on the foundation of how we lived as a people prior to that, right? Now here it is. We have a culture where people could listen, Rasta. There's a town in the central region, right? They have a festival. They have a day where the people of the town are allowed to create songs to lambast the chiefs.
Yeah,
and
it's
any
many places
leaders.
in Africa. They
There
get
you
they
go.
get things like that.
There you go, right?
Yes.
Yes. And it wasn't just set days like that, oh. Even if the chief was, I'll give you an example. I was in the chief's palace the other day. I was covering an event over there. And then the chief gave something to the Asafo people who have been following the chief all day. It was an instrument, right? And these people have been following the chief all day, drumming, doing all the noise. And then the chief gave them something. But I think they didn't appreciate how much he gave them or what he gave them or whatever. They made a song on the spot to tell the chief, no,
Thank
listen,
you.
this
That's
is
democracy.
that's
deep
what I'm talking
democracy
about.
we're talking about.
So free speech has always been part of us. And Kwame Nkrumah did not put anything in its place, to curb it, until we realized that people were after his very life, right? They sent a policeman to shoot him.
So you're reasoning along the lines of free speech.
Mhm.
Is it intentional? Because now they try to make you link it to free press, which is quite a different thing when you actually put it in a mass media Because this scene in the place you're there, it'd be something where the mass never see.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
It's localized.
Yeah.
But if you publicize it, there's another dimension to it.
That's right.
I think you're going there your own way. I just wanted to just hint on that. So
yes, and thank you for redirecting me. But that's actually exactly where I'm heading. Because first of all, those two I think are inseparable. A free press would stem out of free speech. If people are not free to speak in the society, there cannot be a free press where people are like, what you find in a system like that is sycophancy. You find a press that would only report. Like the other day, I was trying to get some famous journalist, young guy in Ghana. I was trying to get him on the team, right? And we put him on the team actually for a little bit. And to my surprise, I realized that all the news he was bringing me was from a certain source that I could easily Google. It was verbatim, So and I actually found out that source could be traced to the Jubilee House. So now the government has an agency where they cook their news and feed it down the line. Here in America, I see that a lot too. You find that go on YouTube right now. You actually find videos on that. There are times where you find that even the verbiage is the same across board. You find like the same thing being read across 20 different radio stations, 15 different TV stations, right? So point I'm making is that free speech or a free media has to stem out of a free society, free speech. Okay, now let's zero in on the free press. Again, in Kwame Nkrumah's time, there was a very vibrant opposition to what he was doing. That was not curbed. It was not curbed at all. It was allowed to flourish. It was allowed to work. Now, after Kwame Nkrumah, however, that's when we find that people could not be that tolerant, right? They would now want to control what is said about them, especially the military governments and stuff like that. And also, the media has always had, and this is why I started by saying it's a two-edged sword, right? Because you always find people in the media who are being like, okay, we'll speak for the government. Whatever they do, it's our duty to report it in a certain light, spin masters, whatever. And there are people who will be like constantly like the guardrails. They are the ones who are like checking to make sure that, unfortunately, we have a system where these alliances shift as and when governments come in and go out, so that you have people speaking for this government, but once they go out of power, they're not speaking anymore, that type of thing. But free speech, free press. When Kwadwo Acheampong was faced with the situation where he was, and remember, if you have a free press where people are free to say whatever they want to say, do not discount the possibility of external influences.
Yeah, because when you said in Nkrumah's time, I don't know if you're in a hurry to get to Kwadwo, because then my one point I'll say, Nkrumah didn't, like you said, well, there were attempts on his life, right?
Yes.
So he had to become harsh on that one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He didn't say anyone can publish anything. He was against it after a point, right? And that's what some people remember about him.
The
because
Preventive Detention Act and all that.
I think that's what Kwadwo is like. Look, man, these people actually, the thing he sent me where I think I hear him even to talk about it. Remember he sent me something?
Yeah.
Yeah, Charlie, thanks for that one. Where they talk about how, this need to do, you're more like an agent. You think say they do free speech. But sometimes it's unconscious. The education where we get, they make us fit to just parrot, the other side of my agenda, right? Without even actually necessarily being in contact with them.
Basically.
Right? Yeah. You just think say that, what they want is how things will be. So it can be very serious irritation where you go to say, Charlie, I don't care what you mean, just shut up. You're not allowed to speak. And that's go ahead.
No.
I'm just saying,
Yeah, well, and it's a very dicey situation again, because
it is.
The thing is, I feel like every time calls for its own solution, right? Because you may want to apply that same thing. If for instance, we have a person, and I'm not scared to name names, like a Kwadwo, right? Who is also trying to make use of that same argument.
Oh, really?
Then we have a problem, right? But then you see where I'm going with that,
I
because
see
now,
where you're going with that.
yeah, exactly.
But
Because
why don't we rather zoom out, right? I think it's hard for you because your orientation is around journalism, right? As he said, that be the thing you to do, so that's where you to live. But me, when I stand aside and I'm looking from outside in, I just say, what is media itself, right? It has a cultural basis, which is not ours. The logic, internal logic of mass media is not ours. Let's understand that.
It's
the mass media we're dealing with.
Okay. So, if you say that, I will agree with you to the point where it is. If we're dealing with mass media as we have it now, yes,
that's what I mean.
But the concept, well, great, yes, you know, but the concept itself, it's
industrialized one.
Exactly, but the concept of mass media is not new to us at all.
Oh, not at all.
If you check the concept, if you check the idea of the gong man, the Weero, that's mass media.
No,
right?
No, I'm not denying that. But what I'm saying is that this switch to industrializing that function. That one was not industrialized.
Yes.
It's a whole cultural thing. It's loaded politically, and it serves a particular discursive purpose. You know, so that it's speaking as a no matter what I do, the thing is framed already in that. You know what I mean? Just like how someone who say geography is already framed in Western cultural discourse. No matter how you go in there and write books and speak in a certain way about, you know, how colonization messed up the geography, whatever, you're in that framework. So you have the option to reject the logic of that medium and then do what you really want to do with it, including violating its tenets, including being, you know what I mean? Just do what you want to do.
Okay.
With the thing versus saying this is what journalism is. Journalism, you know, I study a little bit, just, you know, maybe not as much as you, but I have to study it too. Is they're making assumptions that this thing was made. Is a rational kind of medium. It is not. Right? It's a made up something that was intended for. We have to tie all this back to maybe the printing press. Right? But what's the cultural logic behind that? The political logic behind that? You know, the guy who invented the printing press himself, he just did do what he did do, right? But for the thing to become a thing, which that thing really transformed the way we understand knowledge, the whole world. I mean, as the more printing became a thing, their printing, you know, and look how long they monopolized that too, you know. So, but long story short, man, just want to say, you know, I just want to, when I think about it, I know that, unlike you, maybe I have the luxury to stand aside and say the medium itself is the beast. It's a problem. And if we don't violate, if we don't ignore its tenets, if we don't forget about what it is and do what you want to do, you know, we're going to deal with it. Because this thing about free press, Charlie just might say you be head of state right now, right? Let's face it. And sometimes I like some examples to bring up about looking at other people's feelings, right? Somebody think of you as head of state of Ghana, right? Or country. You did it?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So with me, I did here with Charlie. I did. You did do your thing. You did try. You did struggle. Let's say Ghana. You know, look at the situation we're in. So you did try to do something serious, focused, right? And anytime you meet with me, where you say something, I say, you know, finish a sentence if I say no. Right? Anytime you try to do something, I tell everybody, you know, if I do that even twice, I don't need to do it 3 times. Immediately, you go on to find a way to get me out of the way. You have to. Right? You know, with it talks show these days, things have changed and he's free to go on social media. In your mindset, you're finding a way to block that thing off. You can't control what will happen, but your vibe is just block this thing off. That's when people have these PR things and, you know, they counter the information, narrative wars, whatever, right? But Charlie, the TV said that.
Yeah, go through.
Yeah, but the talk say, if you become upset and you start going hard, like without any kind of, holding anything back. I'll be an idiot to say I don't understand why, or you're evil. But that's been the problem,
Okay.
So what I'm trying to say is that whether it's a Kwadwo, or it's Idi Amin, or Kutu, or Nkrumah, I think that's what should happen. Or that's what we should expect.
Well, I feel like
and then develop a politics that counters that.
So as far as that goes, I feel like whatever system you create, right? If we could violate all the tenets from the A to the Z of the modern media and everything, and we will still have people who may use that, in a way where it's not supposed to be used.
Absolutely.
Right? So
absolutely.
To me, well, that's a journey. It's not an event, it's a journey.
Absolutely.
But
that's
again,
what some of these conversations are about, right? Things that pushing for long term and short term too, right?
That's right. The other thing I wanted to make, the other point I wanted to make is that.
But if you go back and develop your point, so I didn't want to cut it off.
No, that's fine. That's fine. We actually but the quick point I wanted to make is that in trying to debunk some of these things, in trying to reinvent, rethink all of these things, we should not lose sight of the fact that civilization, knowledge started from us, right?
Yes.
And a lot of these things are based on the knowledge that they took from us. So if we should just have that in mind. That's what I think, right? To the point where we should. To that? Yeah, quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. We should do that. We should bear that in mind, but we should also be aware where things branch off, because
that's the point I'm making.
That's the problem what a lot of our leaders had in the 20th century. They just developed.
That's the point I'm making. But it's not easy. It's not easy.
Are the same.
It's not easy though to find out where we branched off. That's
I don't think that's our job, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it just comes back to these reasonings, for instance, or what you really want to do is the law deep down. That's the thing. I feel maybe it's another topic we can discuss later.
Yeah, and
but go ahead.
Yeah. Anyway, so we now have Professor Prof. Weero has joined us. So let's welcome Weero I Rastafari. Prof. Akwaba. Yasha said that. Nana ye can't free press once right? 7 Rezi should be about a free press, and maybe I'll send me German on one cassette a tremuye.
Well, then America say like we shouldn't assume free press basically I was saying that if I think that there's some people who are maybe more they're like going hard against oppositional press is more legit than some other people. You know what I mean? Like, let's say, the good example is like, let's say if you take a Kwadwo trying to stifle free press, you know what I mean? Mess with our plan. And then you take Idi Amin. And then if you take maybe what's the guy in Uganda now?
Museveni.
Yeah, Museveni, and then we come back to Nkrumah. I think each one different, but the thing you say, the nature of the medium, that's what I'm saying. I'm also making this point. He was trying to elaborate on the position, so I go love make it take it. So I tell my position be say the medium itself, with the way it be, those things are supposed to, I should come with it. We should expect that. And we're trying to talk about if you are in charge, if any brethren is in charge of a country, that's another thing where it's easy to tolerate. If people they always actually do things where if you mess up your but he did trying to clarify some things for mine, So I hope I laid it out good, right? Job really good.
Yeah. So far that's where we are. I just wanted Will to get a good understanding of this, the discussion, so they can conveniently join in and everything. But what I was saying is this: if you give half a rotten fruit to somebody, right? They could slice off the rotten part and make good use of the other part. You could give the same half a rotten fruit to somebody else, and they'll do something completely different with it. It's the point I'm making. So here it is. You have Kwadwo, for instance, who came to the limelight through the medium of protesting, free speech, free media. And this is why I keep tying the two together, because there can be no free media without free speech. We had a culture of free speech, even in a what do you call it, military government. This guy had the freedom to protest in a protest where other people were shot and killed. His ass went free, went on to become president. Now, this guy, I'm trying to put a lot of things in context so we can see how despicable some people are and why we should not bundle all of them together. From Kwame Nkrumah's time till the government before him, 57 mining licenses, entire country. From that time till now, over 1,000 mining licenses. Is it a wonder that he's refusing to react when people are saying, no, stop galamsey? No, because he has collected money from people or whatever the hell he's done and given them licenses. So he cannot stop them. Or maybe he has to refund their money or whatever it is, I don't know. But how do you go out and arrest over 50 young people and have a court which is supposed to be the guardrail for the people, and an attorney general who is supposed to be the people's lawyer, rather prosecuting them and put them in custody for 2 weeks? Where's the habeas corpus? Like, it's a joke. This is what we're talking about, Rasta. And then we're talking about the previous government. How many licenses were given under that government? What was that government's reaction to what these people are protesting about? And I gave this example the other day. I think it was in the reading the bi-weekly sessions, right? Where John Mahama deported 2,000 Chinese nationals for mining illegally in the country and defended that action. Now we have another government that came, and we have Aisha Huang, who had come and not only desecrated forests, destroyed water bodies, but had charges of having shot and killed people, Ghanaians. And then when he was asked about it as a government advisor, it's like, oh, these people, they're giving us $3 billion, so let them go. Are you stupid? So let's take it back to free speech. Why does Akufo-Addo have the power to put these people? Because the other day, this is exactly the point I'm trying to make. President of Ghana Journalists Association had the courage, which I haven't seen in a long time among these people over there, especially the previous past president. Complete stooge, a foul money, disgrace. But now we see somebody in place who has some balls of steel, stands right there in the same room with the president, just about 4 yards, how many yards, I don't know, and tells him in the face, do something about the galamsey. Free speech, free media. Right. Now, when he was going to sit down, his seat was right next to the president. And it's interesting, people have done some lip reading on social media and all of that to determine what exactly he said to the guy. And some of it is very interesting. He's supposed to have said, we have to keep law and order. It's what he said to this guy when he had finished saying that to him and went to go sit next to him. What are you talking about? We have to keep law and order. So in his eyes, that is law and order. Law and order is locking up young people who are protesting against illegal mining, all our water bodies being killed. I don't know if you've been seeing some of these videos. Okay, if I went to do these videos, these Chinese people have actually, they put like a mound of sand in the middle of the river so that the river will not flow, so they can mine gold in the basin. Who does that? And we have a government who sends. We have to be very serious. That's the point I was making. Say, you can have somebody like Akufo-Addo saying we have to keep law and order point. That Kwame Nkrumah was using, because Kwame Nkrumah had to keep law and order by stopping these people.
Put on him? That's my question.
There you
I'm
go.
saying that the position he did on those things he go fit do on where people go suffer and die, right? What kind of check can we put on him now? That's what's more, because Are we just going to complain? Should it pass a law that someone like him can't do it, but someone like Kwame Nkrumah
Why
can
don't
do it?
why don't you let Prof chime in on that, and then why don't you, Prof, welcome.
Yes, I give thanks.
Mm-hmm.
The question being, what kind of check? I feel say what kind of checks where we have right now, at least as the Constitution they allow, is freedom of protest, right?
Mm-hmm.
And right now I think the organized labor to want call a strike for some days and the president does something. I think that a lot of people are also calling for a review of the Constitution because I think one of the things is that there's too much power in the hands of the president.
Yes.
So these are things that can be done to alleviate the situation. But in terms of immediately, the people, you say power belongs to the people. The people got to take the power into their own hands and stop this thing because Rasta, where the thing reach,
I see some videos, man. This is serious.
Yeah.
No. I think that this thing with the talk say, let me say something. And what's the name of that mining company? Newmont. The moment they came together, I tell myself, say, no, I don't even know what Ghana government went to bring these people. Because the environmental degradation with those people cause for South America. I'm telling you, it is no joke. The countries had to run them out. Now, why am I saying this? I will say their arrival in Ghana, and as much as we need to talk about it, got to have something to do with this whole thing going on. And then secondly, one thing I don't hear anybody to talk about in regards to this stopping Galamsey is who they buy the gold where these people they mine.
That's a whole thesis. That's a whole thesis. But finish your point.
Whoever they buy that gold, that avenue, that channel where they purchase that gold from Galamsey has to be totally obliterated. Because if we don't do that, if there is a demand, the suppliers will always find a way to supply that.
That's right. Aya, make a chip. I beg, take a pin on.
Okay.
Make her just supply some information so that maybe you can work around that with the point you're making because it's very important. Now, who buys the gold? Some time ago, Al Jazeera did a story where there's this character called Alistair something.
Yeah, some British guy.
Yeah. And is he British or some guy like that? Anyhow, he was caught on tape talking about he's the one who does gold deals for some of the most important people in Africa, heads of state, stuff like that. And he mentioned Kwadwo as part of them. They threatened suing Al Jazeera, whatnot. Al Jazeera said, go ahead. Al Jazeera said, please. Al Jazeera said, go ahead. We stand by our story. They did not do a damn thing. Okay, now let's have that on the table. Again, recently, Aya, have you heard about this nonsensical gold for oil policy?
Yeah.
Okay, what is that? What is that? Good.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
It makes no sense. Let's put that also on there. Now, recently, just a couple of days ago, I think last week, did you hear also about this gold coin nonsense that the Bank of Ghana announced?
Right. I heard about that.
If you connect the dots, you will see where the gold is going. All these three things that I've said, no, I don't want to take your time. So I just wanted to put these things on the table. Maybe after you speak, I can come back and speak a little more on that. But see these three things. So, number one, the president, who is supposed to be checking the thing, no, right? You mentioned obliterating it. Who is going to obliterate it? President has to see to the obliteration. He himself has his hands deep in the thing. And what are you or papa na no cry and call or tafeta no cry still about you say munina. He said we no get about this. And one more. So president is complicit. Apparently, from the reports we're getting. Secondly, There's so much gold in Ghana that they cannot push it through the legal systems, Rasta. That's what's going on. They have mined so much gold that they cannot push it. How is Ghana in the situation that we are when Ghana is at the same time reporting that gold production has gone up by X amount? Ghana reported an increase in gold production. Where's the money? And we have people who can come and sit on TV and be like, oh, here, look at my gold. Chema Woon to me, or some idiot like that they call him, was sitting on TV pulling gold bars. Won't show me gold. Look at gold. That's what's happening. So I beg you, take it from there.
Well, give thanks for the context, because this is definitely crucial information. But one thing we can realize also is that, and this is the other dangerous part of this whole thing, is that you don't want to see a situation where the whole state will become a banana republic. And if we don't stop this, that's where we're heading.
Yes.
Banana republic, I mean, say, having armed militias all over the place.
Yes.
Where did they do their own thing? Now, from what I'm gathering, these people who are involved in this Galapte, and you know what the funny thing is, most of the time when we are talking about Galapte, or at least from what I did listen on the news back home in Ghana, the people who did mind the thing for the first inside seems to be the only target, or at least, but for most of the conversations, the primary target of the people's anger. But let's not forget that those people, more often than not, with them go claim the license. With them they own the operations. With them they import the excavators. It be some big man with some big money, where they do those things where these people are just working on his or her behalf. So the point I'm making is that in all these things, we will identify the sources, and the sources we work with for attack. And once you attack the source, where you obliterate that source, then the other people, the messengers, go also fall in line. But right now, like what person is saying, the source, it seems at least to be the government itself or its functionaries, and the people can rise up, because look, the way things
that's the only way in this present moment. That's the only way. Citizen action. That's the only way.
The thing we say, Galante not only the Western region, Central region, Central region. Right now, it did the Northern region, Upper East, everywhere, Upper West. I think that maybe Volta region the only region where I know here say they do Galante or anything.
Yeah. And that part, you hear some curses with some people. You hear recently, they gave some license to somebody to go mine somewhere around there. And then the chiefs came out and said, so maybe your Bema or Mombra. The guy came on social media and invoked some heavy curses and said, if they be mad, may they come.
People there where they don't want to allow this thing. There be people always.
Most of the people don't want it.
Yeah.
It's only a greedy few. And the stupid other, you know the sad story, Rasta. This guy's report that I was watching, he went to the site. These Chinese people bring some machine, they block the river and mine the place and destroy the vegetation in a matter of like a week.
Wow.
Within a week, a forest reserve that has been there for so many hundreds of years is gone, like deep down. And the Ghanaians come and move free be they say then the locals will come and glean from the what the fuck is that? What is that? Chinese go come from their country with some machines, come and destroy your forest, destroy the water body, destroy everything. The locals are just sitting there waiting and watching. Some of them are girlfriends and boyfriends to these people. They finish, they get some 100, 200 CD, they're happy, they feel they're better. The other day, this guy went there, so the Chinese people ran away, and the local came forward and said, hey, stupid idiot.
Wow.
Because we ourselves are protecting these people to do that. These people have they have a house somewhere in the forest there, in the village there, with their generators and things. These guys have tanks, like polytank sized tanks. So they have like 20 of them filled with diesel. So you know how much work they intend to do in that forest.
Yeah.
This is the fueling station for the champagnes and the you're kind of saying excavators and all. Charlie, what are we doing as a people? Now say young people are sorry so much protesting against that. Some idiot of a president imprisons them through a system called the court, which is supposed to be protecting, not injuring them.
Yeah, it's a joke. Because even the court, somebody raised an issue the other day, say, how come all these people were supposed to be prosecuted through different courts, and every single court decided they go remand them for 2 weeks?
Exactly. It's planned.
Absolutely.
And you know, see, they put some of them in prison custody. They say, oh, we don't have enough space in the police cells. So they put some of them in Sawam. So essentially, some of them have served prison terms for demonstrating. Why?
Yeah. We all remember Kwadwo did it.
Kumi Prekun, Shemi Prekun, Chabikoto Prekun. Everything Prekun this guy do for the country inside.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
People believe him. I know say there were some people looked at him and say, I mean, people vote for him and all that. So people that believe some people that believe some of these things, you know, when they promise.
But look, that's what the promise is. I think every sane person they see through that right now. But the thing is, the Rasta, if we did look at the rivers, where the rivers they look like that, where we just sit down,
talk about it like Charlie.
That can't go on. That can't go on.
It affect the babies that are born and everything, or it affect people directly.
The Ghana Medical Association has made a statement about that. The upsurge of strange diseases.
Yeah. I saw a video where a doctor they show, I think it was BBC or Al Jazeera, one of them, how in the Ashanti region where you see a rise in people with kidney issues.
Why?
And when it research, you notice that the people where did they come or did they live close to these rivers?
Those places.
The mining they go on for that.
And Nana, you know, when you now crowd who say there's a boom in infrastructure and I said living standards.
And
I be say, oh, okay, it's bad enough, but zero.
I don't cry a problem,
I don't cry a problem, but at least
another real problem, no cry. So Saudi Arabia.
Whoa, Nana, Mama can be quickly. Those times before but back then, this was like 2004, 5, maybe thereabouts. I did a documentary on this Galamsey thing, right? We went to Oboase, and I had a great producer who was like, went ahead of me, got all the links, people we had to speak with and everything. Charlie, the things I saw, I couldn't even fathom, right?
Charlie,
but I'm saying, that Galamsey, no, or they compare their and their friend Galamsey now. We should find a different name for this Galamsey. Oh, this is not Galamsey. Because back then, you know, what these people were saying, they said, Charlie, we from Obuasi, we from these areas and things like that. Anglo Gold Ashanti has come, they've taken over our lands, the farmlands, everything, and we can't farm whatnot, you know, and then the jobs to when we go, they say we don't have certificates, so they don't. Versus now, complete river bodies are being obliterated.
Yeah.
So if you check the Galamsey menace, which has always been a menace, but if you check the level, and even at that time, no, there were associations. They have their own associations, and that's the other thing too. People mistake, you're kind of saying, private mining with Galamsey. No, there are people who have licenses to do legitimate individual mining. They are not destroying nothing. They have licenses, right? And the licenses to show them so they have to cover, they have to revegetate and all of these things. It's all there in their licenses. Now these people are saying, okay, give us the power. We ourselves will form our task forces and go and stop the people. Because the politicians are the ones who are issuing the licenses to their cronies. They don't want to do that. Because they don't want you going to go stop their friends that they have given licenses to.
Because, you know, the thing is empire.
Yeah.
If you look at the kind of equipment where they use for this thing, you know, small. Look, like I say, I lived in a village where I'm mining the gold before. And the kind of mining that they do, I think they call them what? Surface pan mining. Right. Did they go with them, you know, the pan way that they take masons they take mix the cement.
Mm-hmm.
They go, then they go fill sand in those pans. Then they go come wash them.
Yeah.
And then they go identify the minerals out of
Yeah.
that. Now these people, the thing what they do, it not be nothing of that.
Industrial skill, Charlie.
This is industrial Rasta. Heavy equipment. Where did they pump water, pump mud, pump dirt,
and pump the cyanide water back into the river.
The cyanide and the mercury and everything into the water. So just imagine if the government was not complicit, this would be an eyesore. They go. They do something about it.
You see how many police people are out guarding the protesters? Yeah. If half of them had been sent into the forest, the menace would have been over by tomorrow.
Yeah.
If half of them. You remember when we had Kofi Kranti on this show? Kofi Kranti said he would just shoot to kill policy. He would just send the army into the forest, shoot on sight. You have no business in there.
We have to be that angry, Rasta, because you know why? If you don't put cyanide for my water inside, you're really
trying to kill my people.
Basically, it's worse than shooting at me. I mean, shooting a bullet into my head. It's worse.
So if I tell you when you're gonna stop, then
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to apply same.
Let me share video be so and there. There's another angle. I'm going to be exploring that a little more in the coming days. I was watching this video. Some young man went to go interview a hunter, right? Guy, you're a hunter. He's been a hunter for so many years. And he was talking to this hunter and talking about some of the things, some of his experiences in the forest and things like that. And all of these things. And Charlie, let's say the war must see your forest. That's just a motia and sankophony now.
Yeah. That's true.
They're not just destroying us, so they're also destroying our motia and all those other ones, them too, in additional. Because motia no go fit dwell in mud, water, and that type of thing. Motia they dwell in forest.
Motia love deep forest.
I'm just saying.
No, okay, I mean,
Sasabonsam munyina wa hobby. Sasabonsam.
I don't know deep forest.
Munyina wa hobby.
Yeah.
Now they just destroyed the thing. Like the man was talking about some animals where he said just about 20 years ago or so, those animals used to actually come home because his home, he lives, he lives in Brongahafo area there, and baby or Tenem say quite close to the forest or whatever. Also, occasionally those animals were once they be crab and things like that. Now you go deep into the forest and you will not find them.
Yeah.
Mushrooms, local mushrooms. Yeah, you say there's this lady who used to, gather mushrooms for us and things like that. Or some particular spot, it never fails her. Every year she goes there on a particular day. I date or dining home. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Right.
You know what that is? That's the dates that they used to see the mushrooms and things like that. That's what I got to find out. So if you go there today, August 14th, and you could go see a big, bloom of mushrooms on that mound, or if you know about dates no wall anymore. And so on that day, they will go back to that spot, and from what she's telling me, they will go and find there's a bloom of mushrooms again. All that is threatened now because, first of all, before Galamsey never crab banana insecticides, they are pesticides. It's pesticides. Which is another discussion we have to have. Because among all the madness, Monsanto and all these other people are silently working in the back, introducing all kind of nonsense. And that's the one thing I've never seen. Only two things I've not seen NPP and NDC arguing about. Number one is their salaries and their bonuses. Number two is the issue of GMO.
Yeah.
Okay, so what? Yeah, so the GM thing is somehow tied to it is tied to this Galamsey thing, because when you say environmental, you're talking about people's. Yeah, so how do you fit tie the two together now? Some people just seize the story and work with it, because you know, it shows it. So NDC, they go how they go against it.
Against GMO. That's what I'm saying, Rasta. They are same. Nobody's going to defend these people here. Oh. Because me, when I picked up this this GMO issue and I started dealing with it, no, it was John Mahama who was in power. The government officials that I spoke to were John Mahama's officials. They had no problem with it. They were the ones who were defending it. And the MPP who was in opposition at the time had no problem with it whatsoever. And now they are in government. Do you think they will have a problem with it? No, sir.
I even said, as soon as they came in power, their guy, the agricultural guy,
with Jimmy Chen will be a Sakwan. Sorry for saying that to his family, because it's hard to hear say, oh, Papa and our uncle and will be because with Jimmy. But sometimes some of the things these people do, bro, like listen, you know, that guy, and he wanted to be president. Can you imagine? Yeah. He went and they asked him, say, then why does he want to be president? He said, oh, because so that my party people will. He wants to be president, so his party people will say to if he top president. You say. You see why we should speak, because otherwise we have some people who are vocal.
Abroad yet. I think with the expectations of say you before you left alone to speak, they're free to speak in there for speak. But I think that thing ED say we for just accept
the freedom after speech, no.
And then so no. That's what I'm remember who can put the checks.
But who can his answer? Who can his answer? Not just say what he say omugu is no. That logic applies to them as well. They should have known that there's no freedom after speech.
That should be the case. Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to say that that's the situation.
No, I'm not saying so you are saying that. I'm just saying though, say if you
a solution from that point, rather than because this is what they go do all the time.
Yeah.
So so what we will come up with ways of dealing with that.
Mm-hmm.
Because the protest thing, still the man is standing somewhere right now as we speak.
Yeah.
Right.
But you see,
no
protest.
What we do, somebody to suffer for it right now. So what we go do? The thing has happened already.
I will add small on top of what Prof said about what we would do. The protest, we should change our style of protesting. Okay. This guy was saying something like that. This Shatawale guy, he normally doesn't say too much that I can associate with too much like that. But sometimes he comes off, and he says something very profound. He says that these people are going on a protest singing. He mentioned some song I'm not familiar with. But more protest, no, it's like you are going on a jamboree. Sing songs that will show that you are angry. What I said? Yes, but you see, Ghana people, we are going to.
They go sing him.
Jano, they sing the same songs where they sing when they go every other place. We had a master in a teacher in St. Peter's Secondary School who used to make the fun of us. I say, you people, when you are going to farm, you are singing the same song. When you are going to church, you are singing. When you are everywhere we are going, Jama, Interco, you are singing the same songs. Like what's going, But the message, the style of Yakani saying, protesting should change. Let me give you examples. I saw this video in India where some politician guy was in the community claiming funds. One guy went up to him, hung a bouquet of flowers around his neck and slapped him like 5 times. I'm not preaching violence. I'm just saying that has more impact than being fired with, you kind of saying.
The way you say I'm not preaching violence.
Let me give you another example. Was that Sri Lanka or one of these places, Bangladesh, was it? The prime minister or something like that stole all the money, everything. When the people protested, he ran away, came to America, bought a house in some plush environment, was living there. You know what they did? The citizens here gathered themselves, drove to his neighborhood, very calm, quiet neighborhood, and started protesting in the very plush, quiet neighborhood. So everybody was like, whoa, what's going on here? Neighbors came out, they're like, nah, this guy doesn't belong to this neighborhood. He's a thief who has stolen all the money from his country and come to buy a house here, while other people in his country cannot even afford food. Protest can be so many different ways. Because some of these people, they are immune to the protest too.
What do you think about the idea of a referendum too?
Referendum on what?
That they should just forcing, the government and actually giving license to act on it. You know what I mean? Because right now it's like we're waiting on people. If the people start to say, let's vote on this thing, and mass movement build around it, right? You know what I mean? Because the thing they talk is happening, but it's not systemic. It's pockets, individuals, right? You go slap some individual.
Yeah.
You go blast somebody for here. It's
Okay.
not really like
so like institutionalize that. Say we are allowed to slap the politicians when they mess up.
You know, you don't have to be institutionalized like that. Even if it's just a force of people.
You see, I think that's organic though, Rasta. I think that's something that we don't even have to mess with. I think that that's the point where people see that we are really angry. Okay, because
don't you think you should start with that in mind and organize on that basis rather than wait again for another while they poison the ground.
Well,
they born another baby like that.
I agree with you. I agree with you very much. Except to say that I think it should build also, right? Because if you're attacking somebody and you give them your heaviest punch,
if anything will build. True, things happen organically, but people intervene, and then it starts all happening organically, you know.
Yeah.
And it may be some move, someone what you go make or somebody go make, just one move in that direction, then somebody build on that, and then we all did, you know. But if we just say it will happen, it'll happen right now. You know, they do the thing that they do, they poison the thing again.
But you see, what's also, believe me, if Ghanaians didn't feel like they had an option, a lot more would have happened. I know that for a fact. But I feel like Ghanaians haven't gone through the coups and all that period and the bitter taste it left in a lot of people's mouths and all of that. No, people are like, okay, let's chill. We've enjoyed this guy for first. No, they had to give him the chance, right? Nobody knew he was going to turn out like that, so they had to give him the chance. And then, yeah, and I'm not saying Akufo-Addo is the beginning of our problems. There were problems before Akufo-Addo, right? My issue is how he deals with those problems. You know what I'm saying? Because if your approach to providing healthcare to the people is going to raise down the hospital before you've secured funding to build another one, bro.
Yeah.
When would that make you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Versus a previous government that built a world-class hospital where if you go there, it looks like Montefiore Hospital here in America. And not just did that, but instituted a policy that puts what they call chip compounds in rural areas where they don't have that type of hospital, right? So they get like some type of first aid at these terms. I keep calling these terms at these chip compounds, and then from there, if they need further care, they get moved to like a district hospital, like they had a policy in place to provide that. So you have a chip compound, a district hospital, a regional hospital, and then the specialized hospitals. Children's hospital, dermatology, whatnot, all these things. And you see that being instituted. You see what they call E-blocks, right? Like how Kwame Nkrumah had that model schools that he built with the same plan and everything. You see them springing across the nation. Versus somebody who will raise down the hospital. Who even does that? Somebody who take $58 million ostensibly to build a house of God. Who does that? What would that make you know? So that's the point I'm making. Nobody wants to pretend like Akufo-Addo is the alpha and omega of our problems. There were serious problems. John Mohammed's time, we were dealing with a different set of problems. I remember I was always on his case about things like allowing the US to set up a military base in Ghana. Nobody's even thinking of things like that anymore. Everybody's thinking about saving their own lives. Water to drink. That's what we are talking about, Rasta. Mm-hmm.
So what's the status of the ganja thing? The ganja.
That thing is a joke. That thing is a joke.
And no.
Yo, no. I'll come back to that issue again. You know what I'm reading from that thing? It was another avenue that these people wanted to use to cash in.
Yeah.
But they didn't even understand how to implement it. Believe me, they don't understand the very policy that they are putting out. Call any of them. Speak to them, you'll understand what I'm saying. They don't understand what they are doing. That thing is a joke.
Plus quite a few of them too. So shall they give us something? Yeah.
They don't know what they're talking about. The guy doesn't know, say, industrial cannabis and you kind of saying ganja na yeshino. It's not the same thing. He doesn't know that, but he's the head of the you kind of saying whatever committee thing that they have. They are the ones who are taking the decisions, and you don't even know this basic language. I mean, this basic fact. What would I make you know? Like, it's a joke. It's a whole joke. But these people saw it, say, oh, Charlie, something we can, say, through investigations, I would say Akufo-Addo's daughter had about 18 or so different companies registered to go into ganja, into recreational marijuana. Akufo-Addo's daughter and her husband or her boyfriend or something like that, who's from Nigeria, and some other people, they traced 18 different companies registered within that same time frame, ready to go in that industry. But they don't understand what to do with it. So it's
Ghana,
yes.
Okay, but do they have that?
That's what I'm saying. They don't even understand what to do with it. So it's all hanging. Or I don't know, maybe something is going on in the background that I'm not aware of. But since they said that thing, no, nothing that I know of has happened. People are waiting for some kind of letter. That's the last I checked on it. They were waiting for some kind of some legislative something to come out to explain the law, no? Right? They said now they had to like take the law and explain it. Like I'm explaining it in layman terms. The law that came out, no, now they have to explain it in terms of policy to all the different departments. Like, what does it mean for the police? What does it mean for everybody who's a stakeholder? Now they have to do that. Have they done that all this time? No, they haven't. They don't know what to do with it. And so maybe they found, said, no, don't cry, galamsey cry easier to do. Let's just go and dig some galamsey and do some gold for oil and hoodwink the people and go away with the money and stop worrying ourselves about some.
So you mean organizing to legalize it? It's not, because I know say when they talk about the industrialization, right? But you think that there's people are pushing still for the freeing it for the burning? You know what I mean?
Empire, what do you think? What from what you said? What do you see? Weero.
So who are you saying is pushing it? The people?
I'm asking if that's happening. Are people fighting for that, or have people stopped this industrialization? We're waiting for a report from the government on that before we go move.
Well, in terms of the temperature we're at the gauge, and I could be wrong, but it doesn't seem the push is really all right now. It's like I'm on for chill.
Jump over if you saw the readout.
Yeah. 1 second.
Wow, Charlie.
Yeah.
Waiting.
Yeah, so, and they read them the same.
Yeah.
And they read them the same way. But you know what's going on? I think that people are confused about that that law that they were talking about. Say they had legalized ganja. People are saying, oh, they've legalized ganja. People are like, oh, nah, with this. So people are kind of like, some people think, say, the fight is over. Ganja has been legalized in the minds of a lot of people, right? Ganja has been legalized. Ghana has a ganja law out to a lot of people. So I think that because of that, the foot has been taken off the gas a little bit. Again, there's some vested interest that's creating confusion among that front that's fighting for the legalization, no? And this vested interest, no, they are more for the industrial cannabis than.
We for shut them off. We for shut those voices off.
And you remember when who was it that said, say, when they were passing some law, you made reference to it, Rasta, in the lecture, when Mubarak said, say, they were meaning to, they had to see the Rasta people, but more present. And when they were passing the law in Parliament, they were not there and whatnot. You know what really happened at that time that I'm finding out? They were conveniently not informed to be there, right? And certain people showed up so that they will appear as the leaders, the representatives. Okay. That's what happened. And I've heard some of these people referring to some of our other brothers as daft and stupid and all these type of things, and they can't do this and they can't do that and they can't. So we have to go in and do it and whatnot and what. Some of the things I can't even say in public, But yeah.
Wow. And if we Rasta brethren.
Well, I mean, who am I to say it's not Rasta? But anyways,
oh no, but what I mean is that they
brethren still,
They come through as Rasta.
Well, man is dread, and I don't know if he sees himself as Rasta or if he just carry dread, But yeah, that we deal with, So sometimes it's a very complex fight. I think it has to be mass action again.
That's it.
Yeah, seriously, people have to just rise up and be like, yo, WTF, because why are you going?
Otherwise, if you say we go wait for permission, Charlie, that thing will go away, sir.
Basically, and it's not like we're in a position where the people who should make the decision, are informed well enough to make a good decision about what they do.
And that's the other part. That's the other thing. There needs to be clear cut education, and by that I mean say everybody where like it will be rise up, know exactly what it is.
What we fight for, yes. Because that's the only way. Or somebody will throw something, or people will be like, "Hey, we've arrived." It's like, nah. What we want, we will have one understanding. You know, even if we don't agree, we will have the same. We'll have the same thing on our minds that this is what we're going for, but we don't have that. You know,
and this is why. No, please finish. Sorry.
I'm just saying what you did do to help. You know, when you start to state certain things clearly, because if like people sit around and work through these ideas, I don't think these people feel co-opted like that. How many people come co-opt the whole movement thing? How many there be? The people where you say they're coming as Rasta where they snatch the story. About how many there gonna be? 10?
Yeah, I don't know how many they be in the back, but there was like 2 or 3 of them fronting the thing, you know. And I had a reason with another brethren here, you know, well-placed brethren, gave me a lot of information, which helped my investigation and everything like that. And he was pointing to some people here in the West who are actually funding those type of things. You understand? Yeah.
But the numbers for Ghana of people who want to just burn their herb and not think about it industrial.
Basically.
They're more.
Basically.
Way more. Yeah. So we need some ideas.
And this is why the Rastafari NDC people, for instance, right? I'm a bit like, they should do a little more.
I'm sure they could do it if the ideas could be solid around them, you know.
Yeah, because first of all,
ideas where would they use?
Well, we've been speaking about some ideas, Rasta. First of all,
that's what I'm saying.
These people, if you're not careful, they might not even recognize the work they do. So if you want to really say you are doing something for them, first of all, you have to appear relevant to them. But that's your own business, because somehow you find yourself in their corner, right? Point I'm making though is this: if you are relevant enough to them, then you can make demands. And some of the demands be say, we need you. And if making that demand is not you saying you whatever, putting a gun to their head, you're just drawing their attention to something. This issue has to be looked at. And you are right, Ross. Maybe we should sit down with them and, you know, bundle some of these ideas around with them so they can carry it forward, you know, because really and truly they need, and this is the time where they are listening. When they're in government, it's harder to get them to listen. This is the time where, and some of these things, when it makes sense to them, they put it in their policies and their manifestos, and then they are bound by it. You know? So imagine that people are bold enough to say, yeah, no real. But yes, it's a one you know how many people smoke weed in Ghana where if they're bold enough to say we won't vote?
It will change
overnight, everything will change. I don't care whether I'm in NDC, I'm in MPP, but whatever, but everybody should commit to this. And this is where we have to have a non-political political party. What do I mean by that? A political party that's not interested in politics, that may not even put up candidates for election, but make sure that they have enough. It's not a party. It has members from across board. And because of that, they can affect any government because they have people. Because right now, if you have even this Galamsey thing, Obianim say a problem. No, you find MPP people defending their bullshit because it's their government in power. So whatever you say, this sounds like an attack on them, right? But imagine, say, we have people from across different parties. Our movement includes people from all the different parties. So when we say we won't vote, it doesn't matter who's in government or who is in opposition. You know, say if we don't vote, you'll be affected. That's the kind of power we need.
But you see, you're not joking. What you're saying is a serious thing. Yeah, Prof, say something, please.
No. But this whole idea is what Manama has been talking about.
Yeah.
That, you know, it's really, we don't need to go even spend 100,000 or anything to become a political party to do that. If we identify ourselves as pressure kind of group and kind of movement where we stay in their face all the time.
They're going to have to do it. They're going to have to do what we say.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Rastafari become the voice of the people and articulate these things all around the country. There will be no choice. But again, it will have to be a and coordinated effort, more along the lines of, when I think about it, I think of what Kwame Nkrumah did. At the mass movement, went from village to village to village, right? Right now, we did here when they talk about Galamsey and all these things. There are communities in Ghana still village to village, even without Galamsey, right? If Galamsey was not in the picture, they still don't have no drinking water.
Fuck.
These are the kind of issues with me. I could say, we could feel pressurize
the movement around.
Yes, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And pressurize whoever they power, whether it be Mahama or Kwesi Kranti or whoever. We'll get them our face and say, look, in this 2024, nobody for day that Ghana inside we don't get what. I think that is something where everybody in Ghana will agree. Honestly, water, you know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
You have to do something about it. And so, yeah.
But Empire.
Yes, I.
Would him say we are still in a country where in the last election, 4 constituencies did not vote. They're still paying taxes.
I heard about that. The South thing.
And nobody's batting an eyelid, including Parliament.
Now I'm better to rectify.
Rectify what?
I've been trying to hear for the news.
No, they didn't do. They didn't do nothing.
So what? They voted and they didn't count, or they didn't choose to vote?
They didn't count their votes.
You don't have any representation in Parliament.
They don't have a presentation in Parliament, but they're paying taxes, and everybody's comfortable with that. I'm just saying that to bring your attention to the point. Say we can raise. Sorry, well, I was just saying that to raise the point. Say we can make the Ghanaians Nakasans. We are a very complex people. Yeah, seriously, we have a member of Parliament who's now vying to be vice president. Parliament, I can say. The people of Keta are complaining, say government is not paying enough attention to completing their sea defense wall because the sea is fast ravaging the town. So they are appealing for member of Parliament from Kumasi, Menshia, sits there and says, nah, why should we give them preferential treatment? And if the government does anything about that, he will start a protest.
Hey.
Yes. This is the daft individual who wants to be vice president. So God forbid that he becomes vice president. How is he going to govern the country? If this is his mindset. Say Kofona for mona or more calling on government say yembe or more see defense wall name or say government koya or no as a member of Parliament, he will start a protest.
On what grounds though?
On what grounds? Say preferential treatment. He calls it preferential treatment.
Wait. Let me ask a question. So just like a month ago, just like a month ago, I see a Kwadwo go Jamestown where go commission some fishing harbor.
Yeah.
Kind of fishing whatever. Set up warehouses and cold storage facilities and those kind of things.
Yeah.
Would he consider that as preferential treatment for?
It must be.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Is it a nonsense there? Where did it come? Stop or...
This is the same guy as member of Parliament, as Minister of Education. They wanted to change the curriculum, right? Went to go print textbooks. You know why Ghanaian kids didn't have textbooks? So I don't even know if up to now they do have textbooks. But for years they didn't have textbooks. You know why?
Why?
This guy, as Minister of Education, went to go print some textbooks with something called comprehensive sexual education. I will leave it there. You figure out what was in there. And the parents of Ghana were like, and this is where it gets interesting because some people in his own party who did not like the idea and leaked the info, and people were like, no sir. People rebelled against that thing before even the book. So he came to New York. I met him and had an interview with him. Maybe I don't even in the defense. Have you seen the book? And I'm saying, well, I haven't seen the book. I say, okay, And the fact that I hadn't seen the book was just enough, you know. He did not dare bring that book out because Ghanaians were like, no, we're not dealing with this. Even without seeing the book, just hearing about it, they were like, no, we're not doing no comprehensive nothing. You man?
No, but you know, Empire.
Yeah.
Make a comment.
Yeah.
If by the mere fact say he asks you, say, have you seen the book?
Mm-hmm.
That means that the book exists.
Oh, but the book exists. It exists.
Right.
You know what else was in the book though?
Because if you say you don't get access to see it.
You can't prove. The person said, maybe your grandpa prove it. I'm a thief, but prove that I'm a thief. But you know what else was in that book though? Or in those books, set of books that they were bringing out? First of all, they were going to make school children go on annual excursions to Damkwa Circle. And
this is this regime's agenda, definitely.
I'm coming there. And Buzia something, right? So, and then they were also, what was the other one again? Something about Kwame Nkrumah's, you know. So I asked him that question also. What do you mean the answer about me? How was Akwawe or just smart car? I say, but there's an Nkrumah circle, right? And I'm saying, yeah. I say, and there's a Damkwa circle, right? They say, yeah. I say, hey. The answer, no. There's a Nkrumah circle, right? I'm like, yeah, there's a Damkwa circle, right? And there's an Obochibi circle, right? Wow. So I asked him, say, the rumors say you guys are trying to use that way, to obliterate Kwame Nkrumah's legacy, you know. And he fought. I will send you the video, Rasta. You will send you the video, and then you watch yourself. But
say something.
His whole, he was like, no. And that's why you actually asked me, say, have I seen the book? No. So you can basically, there's nothing like that because after all, you haven't even seen the book. You know? These people are feckless and wicked because so Otiwia say, now I don't know, this guy, one of them fell sick recently, a couple days ago. News came out, said Asante Begito, who's the president's executive secretary, and as I'm getting to find out, number one public enemy. We don't wish him any evil, you know what I'm saying? So if somebody is sick, you limit what you say, right? But this guy was not, or is not loved by Ghanaians at all. One person or Yare, people are jubilating on social media. That's strange. Ghanaians, yantisa, so be Yare, na man for bo say, akwa we Yare, into Munyaji. But you know why? Because they see that these are the guys who are allowing all the nonsense to go on, all the galamsey and everything. These are the people who are taking $30,000 per license and stuff like that. And after no akwa, so do you sympathize with such a person when your own brother drank the water and got sick and couldn't even fly to America to get care like he did? I'm just saying. What would I make you know? So sometimes it's like, people think it's karma, to be honest with you. But I'm actually looking at it from a different angle because, again, like I'm saying, because he's sick and I don't want to say too much. But I have predicted, say, in the last 3-4 or so months of the election, these guys will start leaving the country in some sly way. They will find some way to leave the country. If it wasn't proving that this guy was really sick, I would think that was what's going on. Maybe he's really sick. We wish him well. We wish he gets out of his sick bed. But at the back of my mind, my conspiracy theory mind, which is not a bad thing, mind, is telling me that it's a way for him to leave the country because all of a sudden they can't all scap out of the country, right? And you know if you're Oyare, I'm not for you be finished. So say they did told you Oyare. Into on was an election between BBC or Abutre, you won't get to him. Coming days, you will see Ochredakon and all these other people and their families leaving Ghana. Market. Enough said. Please, somebody take it up.
Wow. Interesting times, huh? Yeah. Very interesting times. But you know what, though? I think, Ghana too, as a people, we have to look at the kind of systems where we embrace. and how that they impact our society.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we come with this whole embrace of this capitalistic system, right? And things, you know, but look how it widened the gap between the rich and the poor, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like the rich now get so rich,
fabulously
and the poor
rich.
now Charlie can find, you know, food to eat,
Mm-hmm.
or, you know. So we are also questioning these kind of people when they come around tell us they operate some kind of free market economy and all these kind of things. You know, in our environment, you know, there may be some things that we need to limit. You know, a place like Ghana, I hold that certain things should be regulated by the state, i.e. water, i.e. electricity, i.e. postal service.
I agree.
Right? You know, so that right now, if you go send something for postal service to America, small package, $100, $200.
Yeah.
So we say, my cousin way he did security or something. In that postal service, it's out of his reach.
Yeah.
It no go fit send nothing to me, even if people send me something.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So we don't have to just take American system and just come say, you know,
you don't implement them,
free market economy, so everybody just do whatever, you know, they want and make money, profit oriented everything. It hurt a whole lot of people. It hurt a whole lot of people. And even if, you know, I hear say utility bills, they go up again. Why did it go up again every so often? I mean,
and with the salary thing too, it comes steady. They pay them. They pay people steady.
Oh, you didn't hear the Zoom Lion story recently?
What happened?
Natty, how much is $250? That's like $15. Yeah, kind of 250 cedis. That's like $15. People are paid 215 cedis a month. My volunteers on this platform, with all due respect, they don't do 9 to 5 with us. We pay them way more than that.
Master.
These are people who
I did talk to like people with the hawkers.
Yeah.
For Ghana. Where, you know, strike conversation, we start talk. When they finish the whole day of walking around with whatever they sell, you know how much money did they walk home with? 20 Ghana. 20 Ghana. This will be like $1 and some change.
And they are there because if they don't do that now, that means no food. Oh,
the whole day.
That's just to secure food. Oh, Rasta.
Yeah.
250 cedis, and they have to spend their own money. To come to work.
So just imagine, say, if somebody who is self-respecting, who they consider work as worthy, put this thing on their head, walk around the whole day and make 20 Ghana, and you there where you put cyanide for water
in their water.
I didn't agree with question Quarantine. Fire.
Straight up. And again, like I'm saying, it ties down to the Bediato thing there, because these are the people who are giving 1,000 licenses to miners for that to happen. Now, should people sympathize with you? I'm just saying. I'm not saying say people should or should not. You make up your own minds. I'm just saying. What you say? Because the guy whose mom died in his arms now, no when you can say before they go figure out what was going on with her. No, or no, so swear on your nipa. One in that sympathizing me, and some are sympathizing with Bedi too. I'm just saying.
The gap between the rich and the poor is ridiculous right now.
Ridiculous. You know? And there are people who can afford ordering pizza from London. I hear they order pizza, and the pizza is put on a plane and flown to them from London. What you say? And then there are people who cannot even afford the ingredients that make pizza.
Look,
they don't need it though. But
I'm saying though, I'm just saying, like at least the flour in there could make something else, you know. That's why I didn't say the pizza, I said the ingredients that make the pizza. You know, but it's ridiculous, Rasta. And not too long ago, not Skabi or Hodoma, what is will be here now? You must show what you make. The biggest corruption scandal we had in Ghana in our lifetimes was the Woyome thing. Hey, Woyome. How much was that? 50 something
45
million, 45 million CDs.
Yeah.
CDs. Now, Bank of Ghana and Kwa as one entity, Aboka $6 billion in 1 year. And we think there's
the money
nothing.
economy, Jimmy, or
Charlie,
these people too. It's the same thing. The money, the Jimmy around
yeah.
for them.
And you see why some Ghanaians know they feel it, no? You see, sometimes when you go to Ashanti, you say, are people full, they know they feel the economy. No, nobody say they full. Some of these people, because they don't really depend on that economy, no. Obi or no one a farmer, if in the farm neighbor, no. You can price your things however you want, they don't care.
Yeah.
Because when they come to the market and your cell phone costs too much, they have the option not to buy it.
Yep.
But the things they need to survive, the food, the basic things, so they have it. But still, it's not like you can run away completely from it, right? But to a large degree, there are people who don't depend too much on the economics like that. So those will not feel the impact as much as certain other ones of us do. Because we're sorry, we electricity now you charge you from prepaid, change that. No car, near Joe tax, no to lunch, near Joe tax now. I go buy elements, right? Element papers. You know what these people do? They do to us for this America here. I buy my team finish and then I just want the paper. So I buy that one pack of elements. Now me talk no rose my bill by another $7. $7. Oh, now most of that is tax. The paper itself. I used to buy this paper in New York for like $2 and change. You know. Now the paper plus the taxes, no $7 come on top of my bill.
Yep.
You know, but that's what I'm saying. The thing is, there are some people who get affected by the economics. When I went to Ghana and I had to pay that COVID thing, I was so angry because those times I was here and I was like, whatever. And then I was faced with it because I was at the airport and I needed to get out. I had to pay what I had to pay. You know, but a government has decided to charge COVID tax. This is the level of insensitivity. COVID tax.
Yeah, that don't make no sense. And you know, say that COVID tax is still there on the books.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Like when you go buy something right now, you look at the receipt, the COVID tax is up. Joe Biden can't declare long time say COVID is over. So
enough said. Yeah.
Yeah. You go look there. What do they call dead clock too? The number just they go every second. This is Charlie. You know that makes sense.
You know, but really, actually, seriously, we did laugh. But you know, I think say the point to remind them make me say, in the last 20 years or so, you see this hardcore poverty rise up for back home.
Yes.
Right. Once at the same time, you do
obscene wealth.
You do wonder. What kind of job these people they do where they get this level of money?
Yeah.
You know, because now too at the same time, you know, before if nobody know the work where they do, where they get money, they look you some way.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they'll make you know.
Right. Now it's like nobody they ask no question.
Sometimes you be hero says.
Oh yeah.
Some people go praise you as this
oh yeah.
Oh, they will give you title self, call you honorable self joy.
Yeah. Even some of our brethren said, we're hailing some of these people. You know, I don't want to mention it. I don't want to. I choose my battles. You know, but everybody knows say this guy, bro. Listen, you know, this man was there tearing every page in the book to defend him. Yo, brother, listen, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's like that. Like, you know, this, and I was just reading something saying that, like, Ghana now, a whole lot of slums, they rise up for every kind of corner. Mm-hmm. And that's an indication to the show. You say, you know, people are hurting. Like, you know, if somebody can't put slum inside, if I don't say,
something happened.
Yeah.
Rasta, 2 years ago when I was in Ghana, right? the first thing that hit me when I got out of the airport, and indeed, even within the airport, but not too much because I was preoccupied with other things, But once I stepped out of the airport, the first thing that hit me was the misery on the faces of people. Like you could almost see, say, as a you're printing. Even when someone is smiling at you, you see some pain behind the smile. I'm not playing. I saw this clearly. And I also noticed that people who would have normally done something for you for free, now when they expect something when they do something for you, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not because they are bad. It's because previously they did not need what would I mean? Maybe they had alternative ways of survival where they could let certain things go, but now their options are limited. Odi with yako chrome, ako baby no. Money baby kakra and kaya beboano. What would I mention? So but it's the good thing about that is that it's bringing out an entrepreneurial spirit in a lot of young people, who need a direction how to get, because there's this guy who they sell Asians for Accra there, and he's charging dollar rates and things like that. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but he has identified a need and he has plugged into it and he's made a business, and and things like that. And I think that there are a few people who have actually taken it after his lead and thing like that. But that's an example of what I'm saying. There are other people who will take something like buffroat and package the buffroat in such a way, say you yourself, you sit to your ministry's office, you want that buffroat some. So and they have
the Coco guy.
No.
Oh, Ale Empire, there's a guy. I think he was in London where he decided to go back home. And what he came up with a business, say, people need cocoa in the morning.
Yeah.
I mean, check this out though.
Let me the whole page. People need cocoa in the morning.
Keep it.
Enough said. Nothing else needed.
It is what they call it here, elevator pitch or whatever.
Serious thing.
So this guy now set up a whole operation where he put stands in various parts of the city, where he have a central location where they make the cocoa, where they make like in Cartier, anything where they go in cocoa beer, they make up and different kind of
Kose and Masa and all that. Green cocoa, yellow cocoa. Yeah, I see some red, gold, green cocoa for the Ghana there. They have different colors.
Then they come distribute, give all the stands. And
Wow.
then people they go there, they package them nicely, wrap them for you.
Wow.
And you take operation. It go on.
Wow.
So like you say,
and you hear about watch it on
I
wheels.
want to put there when they want to do things too.
Yeah, watch it on wheels is another one. There's this sister Kafui Aja. She has this thing called watch it on wheels. And you know how our food all is going into the I mean, at least in the cities, the fast food and things is going into the cellophane thingies and all that.
Right.
So what she is doing is she's trying to revive the whole marriage between wache and the leaves.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How's she doing it?
Top class, high level chef Rio. But when she finished the food, she packs it in the leaves first, and then she wraps that before she puts it in the cellophane, which is supposed to keep it warm, right?
That's all it needs it for.
Basically, that's all it's needed for. Yeah. But the flavor of the habanero with the wache itself is all there, intact, everything. And then she packages it nicely with the, and then she has like a mobile kitchen type thing, and then she also has a delivery motor riders and that type of thing who will bring it to you, and like people are not playing.
Yeah,
people are not playing at all. So that aspect is good, but that no they mean say the politicians for chop all the money just to force us into that position, because we could have got to that position without going through no hardships. One more thing I want us to quickly look at, if there's time before we can go. You know how things like Uber and I'm using Uber as the front, right? The example, but it's not just Uber. Banks, right? We had people like Kwesindum who demonstrated that he could. Kwesindum is the person who took banking to every corner in Ghana.
after, that guy did an exemplary job.
Yes.
With banking, he brought banking to market women. Now people couldn't rob market women anymore because who are attacking on this discussion? You know, did it everywhere.
You know what?
Christendom did send banking everywhere, so it was possible. Christendom and Kufia Moateng and Seydou Agongo, these three people, there are a few others, but these three main guys demonstrated that we can set up local banking and keep it within. Because before they came, you know who was cashing in on the local front? Nigerian bankers, which is okay if you ask me. Because after all, we have the trade, the ECOWAS, whatever, after all, right? Again, we are one Africa, so that is even a good thing. But if Nigerians can come to Ghana and do that, then Ghanaians should also be able to do that in Ghana by themselves also.
Absolutely.
Right? So now these people demonstrated that they could do it. This government came and shut down all those banks. One of the banks, Indum, went in there recently. It was some Chinese guy selling phones inside there. So now we see when we say the leaders are stupid now. Who want to go to sometimes you see me get cancer? Because why? But I was using the Uber example, right? Since Uber came to Ghana, Uber, Bolt, Yango, whatever, all these things, the taxi industry has collapsed. Have you noticed that? All the taxi drivers are running to go drive Uber or Bolt or Yango. But what's the difference? An app.
Oh, but you know what though? Aya, quickly make a jump in quickly.
Yeah, please.
Even though the taxis were there, I don't know how the Uber and the Yango and the Bolt, especially Bolt, I don't know how, and all these three really, how did they price them, I think, because they'd be far cheaper than the taxis.
You know who takes the hit?
They don't make the taxi attractive anymore.
But you know who takes the hit? Is the poor guy who's driving that taxi. Because Uber, Bolt, Yango doesn't, it's a percentage. So their part is constant. Right? Ufobi, Nasa Okese, Odini Fimadina, Airco, Legon. Nasa Uber catcher say, charge him 5 cedis. You are bound to charge that. No more, no less. Now, however you get them there, no, they don't care. You do it. But once you do it, no, the part that they are taking is constant. It's set. It's a percentage. Okay? So what is 0 times 0? 0. If you don't make nothing, they don't make nothing. But if you make 1 peso, they are taking their percentage of that. That's fixed. Now, you go deal with how you got that person there at what cost. That's the picture right there. And first, no, so tax is not a price than we say in Impua. The money was within. People were driving taxis and sending their children to school based on that. Until the young funny say, okay, it was bad enough, but at least can I eat you? And your funny say it's going to another section of the economy where it's within. Versus Uber, Bolt, Yango coming in from outside, making all that money and sending it outside of the country while collapsing the industry. It's a big problem.
Yango supposed to be foreign owned?
I don't know. I think so.
I thought they were.
No. Omunina is foreign. Matisa Bakuya, Austria. Matisa Baku, no, not Austria, Turkey. Matisa either Bolt or Young. I'm not sure, but I think one of them is from Turkey. I hear, and Uber obviously is from where it's from. You know, and.
But which one of them will be Ghana owned or Africa?
The Ghana ones know the function as well. Shatawale has one called Shaxi. That is another story. I called them, wanted to do some, chip in some ideas with them and do some work with them, and they're not even ready. They don't even have a website. Like it's shambolic. But anyhow,
but it's working. Are they working with it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It wasn't set up properly, so it could have done better, right? He tried setting it up with his own cars, which obviously you can't do. How many cars can you get across the whole of Ghana, right? So now he adopted the idea of the Uber Bolt thing. So now he wants people to sign on to the Shaxi and use their own cars. But you have to have it set up properly so people can do it. If it's not set up properly, nobody's going to come and waste their time with you when they can go and drive with Uber and get money from there and move on. That's the other angle to it. But there are a few others that seem to be working, just not as on that scale. I hear say in Kumasi, there's one called Black Something, and there's a few, there's a couple of them which are working within certain jurisdictions, not on the scale.
Ghana owned, Ghanaian
yeah, Ghanaian owned, Ghanaian operated, yes.
Okay.
but just not on the scale of the Ubers and the boats and the Yangos.
Okay.
And this is where policy comes in, right? Because the government can switch that around easily.
Yep.
Apostle Kojo Safo is making cars, armored cars that talk and things like that. So it will be very easy for him to make the Uber and Yango type cars. Easy.
Yep.
Okay, so make it from there and put it on the market.
Yeah.
Right now, all the cars in Oko, if you're going to Ghana and you have a lot of luggage, please don't go take taxi. Because once you sit in the car, the space is taken up. All the cars are like these small matchbox size cars.
Yeah.
You know why?
Yeah.
Because if the taxi drivers who are driving bigger cars, consuming more fuel, and forced to charge the same as those driving the 1.5 liter cars now, it doesn't make sense. So everybody's ditching their bigger cars and going for the smaller cars.
Yeah, the small cars there everywhere.
And it's changing the face of the country itself. And yet, to me, it's not good. Those cars are not safe, to be honest with you. We're in one of those cars and the guy was on the Tamamoto way, gassing like, on person will be a panic. When I'm saying, bro, who can we now? If I'm a crab, it's me a fan of change. What do I say? Topo. I'm not in a hurry to go anywhere. I just arrived. Topo. Because baby, I'm just going home to go take a shower and eat and things like that. Don't rush, crowd. Take your time. You know. But yeah, it's serious.
Yeah.
Anyhow. All right. So maybe wrap up in like 9 minutes, right? It's going to be 3 o'clock in 9 minutes. Texas time. So anyhow, any other issues you want to bring up?
This is people go over all the time, you know. Like, you know, for to do this, I wish they could continue with some of the points you start building on, you know. But sometimes you make some connections where, but man, I get a feeling, say this whole thing about getting some movement like thing going. I remember seeing Brethren talk about that a while back too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like instead of, you know, to say, look what the government is doing, look what the government is doing, and then we put the next government in and hope say that one will be the thing. Like the idea of relying on the people, us the people, really, you know, Rastafari, moving things, you know, working with people, building the movement thing. I think I see it everywhere the energy to go, the way you had to hear the reason, you know, because the government there, Charlie.
The thing is, people can always force the government to act a certain way.
Yeah, but it has to be coordinated, like you're saying. It has to be intentional.
Yes,
you know?
But it can also be organic. It can be organic without being necessarily coordinated. It can be just raw and organic.
But at least something has to be in place. That's what
I'm saying. Of course, and it's things like what we are doing right now, right? Because that sows the seed. Because there are some people who may not even know that there's a problem of this nature. Right, and then they can get. But look at what happened in Fumso the other day. I think I sent you the videos.
Where?
Fumso is in the Ashanti region. Yeah, Fumso on the youth. Them they say back in the day they used to have the river Fum, right? And I remember because I used to go from Kumasi to Asinfosu a lot, and it's on the way, right? And back then when the roads were terrible and we used to go in the bone shakers and things. Mentally, I would make marks along the journey. So you do have a paper between say, oh, okay, we are halfway across the journey, that type of thing, you know. So I know Fumsu quite well. Now, the people there said they had the river, which I used to see all the time. It wasn't even one of the very big rivers along the route, but it was, you know, quite major.
Yeah.
Now people went there and started mining and destroying the water body. You know what the youth did? They got up one day. I think they may have gotten the blessing of the elders. I think so. But regardless, they went into the forest and arrested the people by themselves. Disarmed them, took their guns, wrestled them to the ground, handcuffed them, slapped them a few times, punch them. I hope they beat them more than was showing on the video. And then brought them to the police station. And that's the only thing that can solve this problem. The only way people will be afraid to go into the forest, they say, Omunim said the youth can pounce on them and do anything to them. Because if you are in there and you know, say you have the blessing of the chief, you have the blessing of the president, you have an army person who can be called, you know, Erastus Asaridonko was doing an investigation, went into the forest, saw these Galamsey people, saw a hut, went into the shed, right? Went into the shed. There were army uniforms hanging there with names and the insignia all on them. When they were trying to confront these people, somebody made a call. Within 15, 20 minutes. A whole unit of army people came there, harassed them, erased their content, all of that. So what are we dealing with? We are dealing with state capture, period.
Yeah.
And if we say, oh, we are going, just like you said, fire. If we say, oh, okay, we are waiting for the law, we are waiting for police, we are waiting for the IGP, we are waiting for some legislation.
We go wait small.
Yeah, we go wait.
So little.
Righteous indignation is what for work.
Yeah, all in cahoots.
Yeah. Army people and things like that, all they here have concessions. You know why they have over 1,000 concessions? Because people who are supposed to act now have been compensated with concessions.
Yeah, that's what I hear too.
Yeah, into one case, also dear Womubi. And how are you going to go and stop people from mining when you yourself to your own day there? Are you going to go start from yours? Whoever wrote that Japadia book, whoever planned that Japadia thing.
The values, is something,
Well, you see, but one thing also is that this whole thing, it also tied somehow into multi-party democracy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we didn't talk about that. And what I mean by that is none of these political parties are made to declare their source of funding.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So these people, who knows? Maybe they go mortgage the country's
yes.
claim some money.
Yes.
Campaigns.
Yep.
Yep.
And that didn't start with MPPO. That one is something which has been happening from way back when. It's just the thing with these people is just the magnitude, though, right?
Yeah.
For somebody who's tried to be president 3 times, and if you see the money he spent on that election that he lost to Atamels, when Kufo was handing over, they thought it was a done deal. The money that was spent, right, and he lost, and he came again 3 times before he won. It's a nipo or dio mokano. People buy any favors. I also repay, What would that make sure, So if an empire, you mentioned a constitutional review, that is a must. Because you know why? When this constitution in all is perfectest glory, perfectest mind, right? In all its glory, was written in such a way that the people who were in power at the time, it would protect them. Jerry Rawlings had a campaign. He wasn't going to write a constitution that when he goes to sit over, you come and use the constitution to come and pull him and tell him say he killed 20 people. So he has to. Yeah, I'm saying. So there are certain clauses in there that were made to protect the ruling, quote unquote, ruling classes, the governing classes. It's about time we expunge those clauses from the constitution.
Yeah.
After all, Jerry Rawlings is not here anymore, is he? So nobody has anything to protect in that corner anymore. Right, that's almost like a chapter that's passed. Now let's go back to the constitution and revisit it. And why does the president have to appoint the electoral commissioner? Why? It makes no sense.
For take out of that president's hand. Electoral commissioner.
The IGP should not be appointed by the president.
No,
because a IGP, the Kenya president are appointed now. What do you mean? Can't innocent protesters? The offer go in Sawon for 2 weeks. So on slow for the job.
The whole idea say the president they appoint the electoral commissioner also gives room for you on the opposition to be very suspicious. If the president appoint this electoral commissioner, then the electoral commissioner is bound to do whatever the president asks him.
So the electoral commissioners will come and go with governments, because you can bet your bottom dollar that Jean Mason, when the government changes, will definitely be taken out of office. There's no question about that. Also that she deserves to be taken out of office. That woman is treading some very dangerous grounds, man.
Yes.
Open up the book, let people check and see that the book is clean so they can go and vote. You are messing with the peace of the country.
She said
she's dangerous.
Put it online.
Online. No more motive bra beto me talk no. O ma kwa kwhwe woni nia na say online. Some things are just annoying. She's very disrespectful of Ghanaian people. It pisses me off. That Jimensa woman. She's walking around with armed bodyguards. Why does an electoral commissioner need armed bodyguards? And it's not only Ghanaians, no. Because I'm also online.
Yeah.
Anyhow, Radio Culture, the time is 2:59 p.m. Texas time. This is where we bring the curtains down on the Fireside Reasoning Sessions, Edition 5. I have been here with Emperor Weero I, Rastafari, Dr. Kwadwo Oppong Wadie, and also 7 Fireside Ras Kwesi Anoche. Quick announcement: we have the bi-weekly reasoning sessions, right? Bi-weekly lectures organized by the Rastafari Council, the Education Committee of the Rastafari Council. Please check this platform every 2 weeks, right? Not this week. Coming week, there will be a lecture, and every 2 weeks after that, there will be a lecture. We always put the publicity on our social media platforms. Do look out for it and join in. And we do put a QR code, so it's very easy for you to just scan the code and join the conversation. Remember, when you join the conversation, you are allowed to chime in after the speaker has presented their piece. You're allowed to make contributions and ask questions. If you do, please be respectful of the time and keep it short and precise and concise. All right. Before we go, I'll take some last words from my co-presenters. Nana, the part you want to go first.
Let me meet you more, Charlie.
Let me wait. Okay, not just I'll go first. No.
I said I'm raising any topic and I'll be
don't go first. Okay, yo, Prof.
Okay. Well, give thanks, Ida. I think that our citizenry, we need to go back to a time where we're very informed. Like when we look at our citizenry in the colonial times, we're very informed, and also we understood that the power belonged to us. I think that the time has come for us to chart a new course for our nation, and that course has to be charted by us, the people. We cannot sit down for us to be denied everything in life, including water. And I think that when we talk about human rights does not simply mean that, you being denied of your right of free speech or whatever. But if someone denies you the right to drink water, that is a denial of your human right. These are the things that we need to stand up for. And like Idem have articulated, this has to be a national uprising where we all stand up and declare our voices and also our actions against this canker that is only bound to destroy our society. Because, as I said earlier on, right now we're looking at it from a pollution point of view, but we also need to look at it from a security point of view.
That's
These
right.
people walking around with guns in the forest.
That's right.
What kind of threats do they pose?
That's right.
To our security as a nation? So these are the things that we need to take the power that we have invested with and bring about some action that will bring about change for the betterment of our country. So give thanks for Radio Culture, give thanks for this platform. Rastafari.
All right. Ross.
Yes, Charlie, I don't know, Charlie. Give thanks. Nana.
Ochami only was some can say Nana wasumwa. Yo, omo asembi omo kwa say Ochami only was some can say Nana wasumwa. Send out 10 send out 10 and no I don't know want to so the end the wawa sewa. Want to so the wawa sewa and the myself. Anyhow, yeah, man. So, yeah, we give thanks for the reasoning still, and then the whole reasoning started off on the media freedom, the press freedom thing, I just want to reiterate again that the press is a very sharp two-edged sword. It can be used for doing a lot of good, but it can also be used for doing even more evil, right? Because and the nature of the media in Ghana and Nankasa now, we have to look at it, okay? Because what's happening is we have people who are politically aligned and who have the wherewithal to set up media houses. And so what do you expect, right? If you go to the Chronicle, which is owned by Freddie Blaze's wife, I think, right? Is that the Chronicle? I think that one of those papers which is owned by his wife. and Freddie Blaze, the chairman of the NPP or something like that. How do you expect them to be non-critical of the NPP or to even be
statesman,
fair? Statesman, that's right. Even be fair with another party or anything like that. If you go to, even on the other side too, we had Radio Gold, which was very heavily leaning in towards the NDC. How are they going to be critical of the NDC? So we have to look at that whole culture very well and say, okay, even if we cannot completely stop it, how do we find a middle ground where media houses are signed on to a certain code where they cannot be used as tools to mislead the people or to cause all types of damage? Because right now, Ghana is very tense. So we have a country where people can go and sit on this Abronya guy, and I'm sure you've heard me mention him a few times. It's only because he pisses me off so much. Because this is some guy who will go and sit on radio and be like, hey, yeah, so election will be a baby, okay, NDC maybe baby for my constituency, mama yakwa could try NDC maybe or one second. What kind of folly is that? Otimika Bibi say, hey, and the best then can the gun and can shit a boy ufie. I said it on my show. I said, we know your house. Send there your wow dear, and so can say and shit there. One can send mama permission say ufie and shit, me boy. Then people can set it on fire. But Ghana, no, it's not yours to give. I'll because a Ghana and shit. What I say? Don't take those powers on yourself. It's not up to you. Ghana and shit, baby. Just because you want to stay in power, stupid. That's not going to happen, right? Recently, he was on air again saying, like the kind of utterances that come out of certain people's mouths, what say out to me say, why do I come from a country where there are people who can think like me, but then there are people like that?
Charlie, all over the world, Charlie.
Yeah, but it's very intense in Ghana. And I think it's an African thing.
It won't be most intense,
I think I was just about to say, because I see a very good replica of that in Nigeria also, right?
South Africa too.
It's like the worst of us step up to lead us. It's like that's what's happening, So we need to look at that. But anyways, I know so we are wrapping up. So I'll meet the item in the next reasonings. I can't wait for that at all. And
seriously.
We'll meet here again on the next Fireside Reasoning sessions. Give thanks every time. One love.
Radio culture. Reggae dancer.
All right.
His autobiography chasing him, possible answer, skill technique, inadequate honesty.
Okay, give thanks and praises every time. Thank you very much for doing the listening in with us. This has been edition 5 of the Fireside Reasoning Sessions. We are speaking with my co-panelists, co-presenters, Dr. Kwadwo, Oppong, Wadie, Weero, Rastafari, and 7 Fireside. Until next month, that's the first Saturday of next month when we come your way again with the Fireside Reasoning Sessions. One love every time. In the meantime, I'll be back in about 2 hours with some serious reggae music. One love.
Boxy war, holding culturally codified.